Hello and welcome to Anatomy of Us. I'm your host, Melanie Studley.
What's up, my friends? My name is Seth Studley. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. Thank you for joining us today. We have over 500 episodes of high-performance marriage content sharing our story, our struggles, other people's stories, other people's struggles, and, most importantly, their victories and how they got through it and how they improved their relationship, how they improved themselves and their family. So you are in the right spot today. Thank you so much.
Today we are talking about the 5 do's and don'ts of shared responsibility in marriage. And this is a huge topic. This is something that when we work with clients, we hear a ton about, not sort of sharing the burden of the home, raising kids, work, all of that stuff. So we are going to cover the 5 do's and the 5 don'ts of shared responsibility in marriage. Again, sometimes we need to hear what we should do, but more times than not, we need to hear what we should not do.
Yeah.
So here they are for
you.
you.
We need to highlight both. But first, we are going to go to the iTunes review of the week.
Oh, applause.
That's right.
There it is. Okay.
iTunes review of the week. This is a 5-star review. It says, take your vitamins. If you care about your health and your vitamins, this show needs to be part of your dailies for your mental and emotional health. I stumbled across the Studleys when I began individual counseling, needing something extra than my weekly session. This remains my top listened to show, and I cannot begin to express the positive impact it has had in my life and my marriage. Oh, somebody's dancing back here. The messages/topics seem to come when I need them most, and it has changed my interactions with my wife, children, and others for the better. It is also incredible how the content leaves a mark in my mind, which has encouraged positive habits that have become subliminal.
Say that last line again. It's encouraged positive habits that have become subliminal.
In nature. For example, their 100 days of Q&A, which we did a long time ago. I began expressing my gratitude to my wife and didn't notice it at first what inspired it, but I realized a couple of weeks later that it was Seth and Melanie in the show. Yeah. Yes. Another applause there. Thank you. Whoops, that was a weak one. Yeah. Come on, crowd. Come on. Says, thank you, Seth and Melanie. This connection between us, my wife and I, has become more meaningful. Thank you so much. It's awesome. So, thank you, my man. Remember to go, and if you do listen on iTunes, go rate and review the show. It helps us raise the show in the ratings. It makes us more visible to bring you more content like this and to help more people out.
And it's amazing to hear your feedback. We talk to you guys all the time, but we don't hear what you say back. So do this, even if it's just as a favor to us.
Yeah.
All right. So
thanks.
Again, we're going to dive into today's show for the 5 do's and don'ts of shared responsibility in marriage. Do you want to read number 1 in the do column? These are the things that we are supposed to do.
Yes, let's do these. Communicate openly about each other's capabilities and preferences regarding chores and responsibilities. Okay, break that one down for us.
So again, this is about shared responsibility, things like chores, raising kids, etc. So we want to talk about it openly. What are people capable of doing? So it would be a very silly thing if I made the assumption, which is this is what everybody does, that a wife is really good at cleaning. She's great at organizing kids' things, and the husband is not good at those things. And so we're just going to make big fat assumptions and work. Oh, sorry, I'm talking about the don't list now. I got to stay on the do's. So we need to be able to communicate what we are capable of, what our skill sets are, right? So what would be some of the capabilities and preferences that you think we have in our own home?
Example, and we'll repeat these throughout this podcast. Example, I can cook better.
A lot better.
I like planning meals. I like going to the grocery stores and getting, hamburger and chicken and this, and we got some deer in the freezer, and I can make this and add this to it. I enjoy that stuff, and it tastes good, and my family likes it. So that's one thing that I'm better at.
You're way more capable at it, for sure. I think I'm a much better cleaner, like just tidier, organizer, scrubber. Like I've done it. I'm better at it. I know that
Melanie's a better scrubber.
I am. I actually believe that. And so we need to be able to talk about these things. So we encourage you with your partner. Again, I don't care if you've been married 8 minutes or 8 years or 30 years. Talk about these things now, right? Just establish it, have a conversation about it, and say, hey, what are you actually really good at? So that means you could do it efficiently and effectively. And what are your preferences? Do you some people are like, yeah, doing laundry is no problem, no big deal. Just do it all day long. Doesn't bother me. Easy peasy. But some people are like, it's the worst. I'd rather poke myself in the eye with like a dog's foot. I don't even know.
Right.
Just imagine the poodle foot in your eye. But so talk about your capabilities and your preferences regarding chores and responsibilities. That also includes things like paying bills, doing finances. We do not want to make assumptions about these things.
All right. Number 2, fairly divide chores and responsibilities based on availability, skill, and interest, ensuring an equitable equitable distribution. So this is sort of like the first one, but what we didn't talk about in the first one is available. Like, what if one person is working? You know, say that a situation like we were in a while back. I was working 3 jobs and in grad school, right? I really didn't have a whole lot of availability, right?
Yeah.
Or opposite of that, when we first started the podcast, which was 7 years ago, we just hit the 7-year anniversary. Boom, high five. You were working almost 24/7 on editing, on learning skills, on setting up interviews, on doing all kinds of stuff, right? So there was a big push for us to get our podcast out. So maybe some of the stuff that you used to do around the house was like, all right, that shifted to me now because you're working your butt off over here doing all this other stuff.
Yep.
Right? So availability changes, it flexes, it ebbs and flows. And then also interest. I think interest is an interesting one. Like name a chore that you like to do.
I like organizing and tidying things a lot. Like I like making a space look beautiful. And that's a chore. Like it's a task.
Yeah, it's work.
You know? But that is something that like I would rather do that than, you know, weed the yard or something. Yeah. But I think one of the biggest things is the fairly divide part. Like make it fair and divide it fairly. And I'm going to go to something that we wrote at the bottom of our notes here. And that's, we didn't add it in before we thought of it, was this idea of looking at your family of origin. Look at the home that you grew up in and see what they did, and then look at the home that your spouse grew up in and see what they did for chore division and division of labor and division of like cognitive load of parenting and all of that stuff, because that's going to give you a big fat indication of what you're probably going to be drawn to doing. Even if you say you don't like it, you're going to be drawn to doing it almost like identical to your parents. So
this is see the note that I put, we go to what we know.
Yes, we go to what we know. So this is So again, when we're talking about fairly divide the chores and responsibilities based on availability, skill, and interest, ensuring an equitable distribution, when we say that, that's all fine and well. But if you don't realize like, oh, my mom, so this is real, like my mom did basically all of the house chores, and my dad would fix things and cut the grass and fix things.
Work outside of the home.
And work outside. Yeah, he would do yard work, but not like maintenance-y yard work as much. But he worked outside of the home, was gone all the time. And so what I saw growing up was mom did everything. Mom did absolutely everything. So there wasn't really like a division that I saw. And so for us to be able to fairly divide up the chores based on whatever, I have already like this subliminal thing in my mind going, oh, well, moms just do all the chores. So probably, Melanie, you will do all of them.
Right.
And Seth will do like none of them.
Well, that's an assumption. But sometimes, did you make a face?
I just sat here listening.
Nice try.
Is an assumption, but sometimes what?
An assumption that, I saw my parents do it, so I will do it. And what if we saw our parents do the same thing, and now we're like kind of clashing against something.
Yeah, for sure.
Because like going back to family of origin, my grandma took care of a lot of the
everything.
She did a lot of stuff.
She was like the ringleader. Like she would be like, okay, you're going to do this. You're going to do that. You're going to repair that thing. You're going to have these blinds washed. You're going to get the car. Like she would just point and say, this is what's happening next.
Right.
And so that's the family of origin you grew up in, is having like a female dictator, the best one ever, like telling you all the things to do.
Yeah. So I'm going to come into this relationship thinking this is best. Do it this way. Do it this way. Do it this way.
And probably thinking someone will tell me what to do, but not realizing it. You know?
Well, I think because I'm the oldest, which goes back to family of origin, birth order. I'm the oldest, so then I kind of like got into do this kind of thing. Like, oh yeah, well this is what we're doing. What are you talking about? You want to do what you want to do. That's not what we do.
That's a different episode.
You don't sit next to your wife.
You can't sit next to your wife. Move. That's a weird movie reference in there, guys.
What movie was that?
Pride and Prejudice, I think.
Oh yeah.
But Judi Dench, Dame Judi Dench. So
my grandma.
So again, this is like, you've got to look at your family of origin. And people, it's kind of funny because we do work with clients, right? We work with coaching clients, and I sit and I say this to people and they're like, well, I don't do what my family does. I mean, I don't even like what my family does. And then like 2 sessions later, I'm like, hey, so remember that thing you said you didn't like that your family did? Like you're doing all of those things right now in front of me and I'm seeing it. So don't put it past yourself to be that way when it comes to dividing up chores and responsibilities. Again, everything including parenting, bills, car maintenance, yard maintenance, house maintenance, all of those things. Don't put it past yourself to be just like your fam. Number 3, regularly review and adjust the division of responsibilities as needed to adapt to changing circumstances or needs. A great example of this is when you have a little tot.
When you got a kid.
When you got a baby popping out and it's the, new mom, it's unbelievable to give birth to a child. It's just a lot. And sometimes it's harder for some moms than others. And there's a lot more healing that has to happen or complications or nursing issues. And if you are making the assumption that, oh, well, she should be fine, she did it before. It's just like a kid. It was no big deal.
Right.
Like, let them sleep and you mop the floor. And it's like, well, no,
It could be like, oh, it's fine. They did it before, but they were really tanking before, and we just barely scratched by.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we don't want to do that again. It's like, well, I made it to the store on gas fumes. Like one time, literal on my truck, I did this on purpose.
Yeah.
Like just to see how far I could go. I had 1 mile before the gas station. Right. It's like, oh, well, I did it before. I don't really want to do that again.
Right.
So just because you've done it doesn't mean that you should do it again.
Yeah.
You're capable of it, but it doesn't mean you should.
Let's give some examples of things that would require a review and adjustment of the division of responsibilities. So
you had a kid.
Yeah, had a kid. I think got a new job, or are in a new, started school, are in a new program at your school, have a different set of hours at your job.
How about this? The ages and stages of our kids now, they are doing more after school activities, evening activities. Okay, so we're not going to sit down at the dinner table every single night religiously, no matter what. We used to, like when the kids were little, it's like, oh yeah, and nobody was working late or anything. Supper, we all eat together, right?
Yeah.
And that's great. And we are being flexible in we're being adaptive to what is going on outside. And these other outside things are very normal. They're very developmentally appropriate, and we're just adjusting. We're not like, oh, we don't eat, We still make points to have family time and all that stuff. However, it's just, okay, things changed, things morphed a little bit. Guess what? Now we're going to change and morph a little bit.
Well, and I think too, especially with ages and stages of kids, the division of responsibilities in your home, assuming you have children, like right now we have 2 teenagers and a preteen. And so our division of responsibility has changed a lot because now I'm teaching them to essentially help me and help us in our home all the time. And so it changes how I function within our home because I'm not doing the chores. I'm outsourcing them to my indentured servant children.
You're delegating.
And I'm delegating. I'm making them do them.
They're earning their keep.
And so it's an interesting thing to see that actually changes how I show up for things, and it changes the responsibilities, and it is how we're adapting in this season, and it's going to be the best adaptation long term for us and the kids, whatever. But if we just said, nope, mom always does the dishes, mom always does this, like she did when the kids were newborns, number one, my kids are going to grow up to be useless little turds, and they ain't going to be worth their weight in nothing. And 2, I'm going to be exhausted and overwhelmed and not follow my dreams and not do any of those things. So keep that in mind. So number 4 on the do list is show appreciation and acknowledge each other's contributions to the partnership, to what they bring to the world in your relationship.
That one goes so far. Like it goes such a long way. Being acknowledged and appreciated. What's that thing that you have on our Google Play? There's a picture in one of the rotations, and I think it's a quote. It says something like, "Those who are acknowledged or appreciated tend to go farther, and up,
like above and
beyond what is required of them, right? Because they know they're getting is that positive feedback loop that I've talked about. They're getting, hey, should I keep on going this way? Oh, good job on that. Good job on this. I really see you working hard, and that's a big thing for you that we've talked about a lot. Is you not only value, but I think in a very, very strong way, you need that acknowledgement and that appreciation. You know what I'm saying? Like you need that feedback of like, hey, am I doing a good job? Like, and we all, and so we're talking about marriage context, right? We all want our partner whom we should love the most, respect the most, and want to be the closest to. We want our partner to know that we're doing a good job. We want them to acknowledge it and to just to see it, and not take it for granted. Right?
I'm going to add. I just added something to this because you said I need that feedback, and I think that there's a very fine distinction here that will change it. I don't want the feedback. I want the energy of the feedback. Like, because we see clients do this, and we've done this a million times, where it's like, I've done something, and Seth's like, thanks for doing that thing.
How about this?
Saying it.
Hey Mel, great job on creating the Power Couple Planner.
Yeah.
You made this, and it's really good, and it helps out a lot of people. It's cool.
Listen, I hate to admit that that's the vibe you've given me a lot of times for a lot of things, but
Sorry.
I don't want just the appreciation. I want the actual energetic, embodied appreciation, like the vibe. I want you to be like, that's awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Awesome that you cleaned out the car.
You see this freaking thing, the Power Couple Planner? Melanie created this in hopes, and if couples do it, right? The Power Couple Planner, go to anatomyofus.com right now. Click on the Power Couple Planner. It will change your life. It'll put you intentional. It'll do everything.
It sounded like you're making an ad. That was a weird mishmash. It was confusing
true
to me.
native advertising.
Okay. So anyway, show appreciation with your energy and acknowledgement, and acknowledge each other's contributions to taking care of everything together. So if your partner does the dishes every night, tell them thank you, but don't say it like you're a freaking slug. Thanks. Or a sloth. I'm sorry I'm being so mean to sloths and slugs, but I don't want the energy. I don't want the energy. I don't want that energy, and nobody does. So it's like high vibes. We're the high vibe tribe.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
So we need to bring that vibe, bring that energy. And that's a huge component to this. Okay.
Okay. Number 5, do collaboratively make decisions, ensuring both partners have a say in matters that affect them both. Give me an example.
So I think, again, going back to family of origin, like if you were just like, no, mom cooks all the meals, wife, you will cook all the meals. And this is what happened with us. I was like, I don't know how to cook. Like, I don't have a say in this. We didn't have a collaborative discussion ensuring that we both have a say in how this will affect us, because for the first 5 years of our marriage, we ate unseasoned rice and peas because that's all I knew how to cook.
We're on Dave Ramsey's plan.
Yeah, beans and rice and peas and rice. But I think that had we known that, this is actually going to have like a much bigger impact on your day-to-day interactions with each other and how you feel. Again, everything from, you're in charge of cleaning the entire house or making sure that our cars are always clean or whatever. We need to be able to have a collaborative discussion and decision process going like, will this work? Is this going to be good? Is it going to make you too tired? Or are you going to be like in your zone of incompetence all the time?
Okay, so think about it this morning. So this will air after the fact, but I was doing 75 hard again. I started like 5 days ago. And then Melanie wrote me an email and said, hey, let's do this. I want to do it together with you again. I says, sweet. I says to myself, I will intentionally fail, and then we will start it together. So, what?
You failed. He failed on purpose so we could go have dumplings at the dozo.
No, I did it so I could start over with you, right?
I know, but it was cute. It was on purpose.
So, today is day 1, and just the energy and the vibe around that was a collaborative decision, ensuring both partners have a say in the matters that affect them both, right? Because 75 hard is a time commitment, just like anything worth doing. It's worth doing well. It's worth being on the same page for, and understanding that it's a time commitment. So our energy, going back to number 4, like show appreciation, show your communications with energy. We have high energy around this. Hey, we're doing it together. Hell yeah, let's do it. We did it together last summer and it was awesome, right? So I have big expectations for that. But the point is, we collaboratively made that decision, and we're going to, and this is really cool how this works out. It's just something that we don't even think about it. It's like, hey, I'm going to Pilates. All right, cool. What? You said you weren't going today. Who's going to make the bacon?
I hate how accurate that is for so many couples. Like,
not for us.
I know.
Right? Hey,
we rule.
I'm going on a run. Sometimes you go, oh, you got to run? I'm like, yeah. You're like, all right, sweet. Go kill it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't say, you got to run. Like,
we don't
like
hem
I'm
and haw
annoyed.
and baby face around and all that stuff, right? Because, well, number one, we're on
a high vibration. We're doing it right. Okay. We got to keep on.
Okay.
So,
keep on.
We're going to
Hold on. Let me summarize what I was saying there.
Got it.
I'll read it again. Collaboratively make decisions, ensuring both partners have a say in matters that affect them both. Not just about cleaning, not just about household chores, everything.
Agreed.
Everything. Finance, sex, money, kids, house, jobs, vacations,
hobbies,
everything. Don't make a decision on an island, right? We do a lot of stuff, and we want to continue to do even mind-blowing, way bigger stuff that we haven't even thought of yet, right? We have to be on the same page. And if we're not on the same page, we're not going to get there together, right? So,
agreed. You got to get on the same page with your managing all of the stuff, shared responsibilities in marriage. So now we're on to the don't list.
Right. So we are 5 do's and don'ts of shared responsibility in marriage, and now we're on the don'ts. Okay.
So number 1, do not assume that certain tasks are inherently the responsibility of one partner due to gender roles or stereotypes, or again, what you saw growing up. This is something that I really, again, just wish someone had been like, hey, Seth cooks better than you. Just because you're a woman does not mean you should make all the meals. And I wish someone would also have said, like, you can meal prep. You can be like his sous chef and get all of the things and prep the
Remy.
things. Yeah. Like you,
Emil.
you're, what's the girl's name? Chef Colette. You're Colette and I'm Alfredo Linguini. And
no, I'm the rat.
You're the
Remy.
master.
I'm Remy.
So anyway, you're Remy, you're a rat, and I'm a redhead. So I wish that someone had said, like, there's a better way to do this, guys. There's a better way to share the responsibility of cooking meals every single day, 3 times a day in your home, but don't do it based on someone being a female and someone being a male, because that is 100% what we did, and it led to so much like insecurity and frustration and confusion and annoyance and bitterness and hurt.
That is exactly like in the corporate world, someone getting promoted who is just not fit for the job.
Yeah.
You know, or not even promoted, just like hired on because they were the boss's son or cousin or relative or whoever. Like, no, you're not good at this job.
Right.
You're not good at it. Everybody wake up and go, you're not good at it. Look at the busboy over here who mops the floors. He's a genius about it. You know, it's kind of like, what is it, Good Will Hunting, which I haven't even seen, but it was like a janitor who was like a math genius, right? Or something like that.
I don't know. I haven't seen it either.
I haven't seen it either, but what a waste. It's like you're good at a lot of things, right? And just because you have long hair and is it Y chromosomes? I don't know. Eggs.
You just have eggs with tails. It's not that different.
Ooh, that's weird.
Tail eggs.
Because you have tailless eggs, it just doesn't mean you should cook or shouldn't do, business stuff and business plans. That just it doesn't make sense.
It's the perfect time to say it makes an ass of you and me when you assume.
Okay, so don't do that, you guys. Number 2, don't criticize. Oh Lord. Don't criticize. Well, we could just leave it there. Hey, don't criticize. Yeah. Right? But we'll elaborate. Don't criticize the other person's way of doing things if it differs from yours but achieves the same result.
Man.
Now, I'm thinking of 2 things there. 1, yes, that statement is 100% true. It's like, did we get to the grocery store? There's 2 ways to get to Fred Meyer.
Yeah.
Right?
There's probably 20 ways to get Fred Meyer, but yeah. That's our Kroger, by the way.
Via car, right? So there's one way. You go through downtown. There's about 80 red lights, but I think it's shorter, right? You go the back way.
Distance-wise.
Which I prefer because it goes by the Cedar River watershed, and most time I see elk, right? And there's 0 red lights. But it's maybe 3 miles out of the way. Do we get there the same?
Yeah.
I prefer the back way. You prefer the other way, right? Am I going to go, seriously, you should know there's more cars going that way.
Why do you go this way?
You're increasing the chances of an accident, blah, blah, blah. All reasons that don't matter. Yeah. It's like when you're going to the store, right? Are you bringing home eggs like I asked? Okay, then who cares how you got there?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Now, some people could say, well, I'm doing this and this and this and this and this, adding all these extra steps because that's how I learned it. You're like, well, can we unlearn that? Because that's putting a real undue burden on me, and that is just dumb.
Well, and how about we create our new one together? You are creating the family of origin for your kids right now. Every interaction together, you're creating your new paradigm, your new state that you live in. Create it together. Don't be like, well, this is what my mom did, so you have to do that too. Ugh, right? And I think, too, it's very important to honor how your partner does things. And if you have kids, they will do them differently than you unless you are like a Nazi parent and make it do it just like you, which some people are. And that's very unpleasant to be with. So if you find yourself going, don't do it that way, or to your husband or your partner or whatever, no. What does that sound? What's buzzing?
Don't know. Can't hear it.
So know that, number one, that's a sign of you being a very controlling person. Oh, how do I know? Because I was that person.
Mm-hmm.
I was the one who said, why are you driving the back road to microwave? To Fred Meyer. That's a word that came into my head. Why are you driving the back road to Fred Meyer? This other one is the one I prefer. Oh, because guess whose hands are on the freaking steering wheel? Not Jesus's. Seth's. Seth is driving, so he gets to make the choice of where he goes.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't need to criticize it. Are we going to Fred Meyer to get the eggs? Yes.
Yeah.
Can I keep my stupid mouth shut? Yes.
Enjoy the view, babe.
Enjoy the view of the elk and the
Relax.
river. So don't criticize the way your partner does things for a multitude of reasons. The other one being they will never do it again. If you say they did it wrong, they're going to be far less likely to do it again, to help you out, to do anything. Because
What's the Southern saying that I used to say to you?
you attract more flies with honey.
Right.
And I used to say, I don't want to attract flies. I didn't understand it. I really didn't. I truly didn't.
Okay,
But,
if you're Southern, drop us a note.
Yeah.
You're like, yep, I heard that, and I know exactly what it says.
But it gets really important. Again, if you are controlling and criticizing the way your partner does chores, pays bills, blah, 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 you are controlling. You are unpleasant. Stop. So there you have it.
Full stop. Number 3, don't ignore or downplay your partner's concerns or preferences regarding household responsibilities. Now, this is a big one, and we've talked about this a lot, and the prime example that we have is leaving socks on the counter.
Yes.
Right? That example. Or this guy called named Matthew Frey, who...
Oh, yeah.
What was the book that he wrote?
This Is How Your Marriage Ends?
Yeah, we interviewed him, and he says that he got divorced because he left a glass of water on the sink. Now, obviously, only an insane person would leave someone because of that. But it was all the other things that he did not pay attention to, all the other things he ignored, all the things that he criticized, all the things that he dismissed, right? So I'm going to read it again. Don't ignore or downplay your partner's concerns or preferences regarding household responsibilities. Have a real conversation about it. Now, if I said, you know what, I prefer the back way to go to Fred Meyer, and you say, you know what, when I was little, a tree fell and crashed on our car on that road, I have a little apprehension about it. Would I be like, oh, it was happening in the past 20 years ago. What's the matter with you?
Get over it.
Right? No, I would be an insensitive jerk.
Yeah.
Right? So the likelihood of that happening again is very slim, and we can go that way sometimes, but just say that you were feeling weird and you're like, I don't know, something. Can we go this way? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not going to dismiss that or downplay and go, good Lord, you're still uptight about that? Give me a break.
Right. Yeah. I think it's important to factor all of those things in again, because if you're, I don't know, that's what love is. Like that hashtag, that's what love is and how love works. It takes into account the other person's desires, needs, wants, concerns, whatever. And then you grow together. Like you grow together to figure it out. And I'm going to put this into the context too of like finances. If you have a spouse that's saying like, I feel a little uneasy about this. Can we talk about it? And you're like, no, I have a handle on it. That's not what anybody said. Nobody said, do you have a handle on it? They said, I feel uneasy. Can we talk about it? And then your job as a nice person is to go, yeah, what do you need, babe? Let's sit down and look at it. How can I help ease your discomfort? How can we talk about this together and collaboratively create the life, marriage, relationship, communication styles that we want? Again, you have to take into account your partner's preferences and concerns regarding all of this stuff. Number 4. Don't take on too much responsibility yourself without discussing it, because this can lead to potential burnout and resentment. We see clients do this all the time. I did it when we were very first married, and then I think I just couldn't handle it.
You took on too much, or I did?
I took on too much. You didn't do anything. I'm just kidding. You were doing school, and we had kids. But so I took on too much responsibility without talking about it and without discussing it. And again, in clients, how we see this is that the wife will be like, oh, well, he works all day, so I just want to make sure that everything is spotless for him and that the kids are this and the blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, that's too much. Don't take on like, so I do literally every single thing so that he doesn't have to do anything at all, but I didn't talk to him about it. We didn't talk about if this worked for us. And now I find myself going, why doesn't he do anything? He doesn't even pick up the dirty sock. He doesn't even wipe down the toilet, because you've established accidentally that you do all of those things.
So you are mad about a problem that you created.
Yes.
That the other person
had no say in.
Had nothing to do with.
Yep. Yeah.
Just saw stuff. It's like, oh, it's clean. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. And it's really important, again, not to...
You better be thankful for the thing that I didn't talk to you about.
Idiot. Yeah. So don't, and again, this is, I think, I don't want to say like a martyrdom thing. Maybe there's a different word, but a lot of women do this. They want to take on all of the things because they're the ones that are home, traditionally. And if this doesn't apply to you, do not get mad because it applies to a lot of people. So don't be that lady, but, or fellow, but don't decide that, oh, well, I'll just do this to help out, or I'll just do this to make it better. Cause it might not make it better.
That will get you in trouble really, really, really quickly. And I am guilty of that. And particularly, I think around, and we figured this out a while back, but I used to like to give you surprises and stuff like that. And you're a person that does not like surprises. If I get you a gift, that gift better be something that you've been thinking about for 6 months or have said, mentioned
or have written
2
you
years
an
ago.
email an email that I want.
Right. Or something like that. And, I didn't grow up that way. It's like, oh, you got something cool, right? But going back to family of origin, it's perpetuating. Yeah, because I remember I would get surprises and stuff like that. I'd be like, I don't want this.
Yeah.
Like I would,
you would give a
but you would
surprise
feel
to
guilty.
me, a gift to me, yes.
Right, and you would feel
Yes.
guilty, like, not receiving it. I don't want to hurt their feelings, and then it just causes. Remember, clarity is kindness, right? There was zero clarity in stuff like that, right?
So I was clear. Keep the receipt.
I'm talking
Return
about
it.
but I'm talking about like family of origin,
Yeah.
stuff like. Not a whole lot of clarity, just like, I think this person wants this, here's blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, oh, wait. And then it didn't get the result that you thought. And then it's just a whole kind of goofy mess.
Yeah.
So, okay. Anything more to say about that?
It's a recipe for disaster to take on things and make an assumption that what you cannot do that. Just don't do it. Number 5, don't shirk responsibilities or become consistently unreliable, forcing your partner to pick up your slack.
Okay. Tell me about that.
I don't make promises you can't keep. Don't write a check that your butt can't cash.
That's a good one.
I think what that does is it unintentionally builds in a lack of trust, right? You create more and more distrust. If you say, oh yeah, I'll take out the laundry. I'll take out the trash. I'll do the laundry. I'll fold it. I'll put it away. And we've run into this, we've been married 20 years this August. We've had these happen both ways many times where we say we'll do a thing and then we accidentally don't over and over and over again. And usually it's not because we don't care. It's because we're not really working in our, our zone of genius and our zone of awareness.
Do you know what it is?
What is it?
A lot of people, it is temporarily. This is good. You better write this down. We better be recording this. It is when you make promises, when you write checks that your ass can't cash, or when you over promise and under deliver, you are making promises to temporarily relieve the anxiety, the discomfort that you're feeling right now. So by saying you will do something, alleviates it right now, but then you have to pay for it later. Yeah. And oftentimes you make so many promises that you simply cannot possibly cash all those checks that your mouth wrote.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So, and I have done that. Melanie's been asking me about this thing. I think husbands do this a lot. Melanie's been asking me about that thing. I want to make her happy, but I have 8 billion things over here. I don't know what to say. She wants to hear yes, and I want to be able to do that for her, ideally, right? Which is a mild form of self-delusion, in a sense. I'm not talking about delusional schizophrenia type stuff.
No one thought that.
My therapist brain does. That's all I think about.
Is he talking about self-delusion therapist type right now, or does he just mean it colloquially?
No, but sometimes, we talked about this yesterday with a person that we both know, they have dug themselves in a hole. They start believing their own bull S. That's what I'm saying, delusional pieces. So you're like, yeah, I can do that. Sure. Literally all you're doing is alleviating the anxiety, and you're wanting to hear yes, because when you hear yes, doing a good job, cool, you can do that thing for me, you get a hit of dopamine, and that's what you're addicted to. You could care less about what you've committed to, right? And unweaving that web and pattern is very, very difficult, right? So again, may your yes be yes and your no be no.
Yeah.
Newsflash, the Bible got it right.
You're right.
Right?
Yeah, it's high accountability, really. It's high accountability, self-responsibility, self-accountability. These are the things that pave the way to a really healthy and thriving relationship. And when you don't do them, especially as it relates to shared responsibilities in the home, everything from parenting, again, cooking, finances, schooling for your kids, whatever the thing is, when you don't do that, you create dissonance, you create chaos, you create frustration.
Oh man. And you also, you create suffering for two people. And the one suffering that is probably the most painful is the suffering that you create for yourself.
Yeah. You create suffering twice. You didn't do it, and then you got to pay for it. You got to suffer the consequences.
Because what you did, you got two people's hopes up. Hey, honey, can you, something simple, take the garbage down. You know, we have a long driveway. I mean, the kids do it now, but I used to do it. We have a long driveway. It's cold in the morning, blah, 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 all this stuff. Hey, can you take the garbage out? Yeah, I got that. Oh, he said yes. You're
nice.
You're
now
happy.
I don't
Great.
have to think about it.
She's smiling. Cool, right? And then next morning, when it's cold as balls, and you have other stuff going on. Oh, the dog barfed. I got to go to the gym. There's clients, all this stuff. Guess what gets forgotten? The trash.
Yeah.
Hey, did you take the trash down? Oh, dang it. Crap. No, I didn't. Boom. Okay. Number one, that sucks feeling, right? Number two, you're like, you didn't do it again?
Yeah.
Like, this is like the fourth time, dude. Like, what's up? So we're both letting people down, and we erode the confidence that we have in ourselves. Ed Milet talks about you build self-confidence, you build self-esteem by what?
Keeping the promises you make to yourself.
Yeah, keeping the promises you make to yourself primarily, and keeping the promises you make to others. See what I'm saying? And if you're in that web, assess yourself, erase all delusions, and go, man, I've been BSing myself and you too. I am sorry, right?
Yeah.
And so if you have ADHD and you have a million things, get real, get a calendar, write this stuff down. If we counted all the reminders that we collectively have in our phones and like sticky notes and all the things that we use, it would probably be, a 10 chapter book.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, and what is very interesting about that is that those are all there for the sole purpose of creating the life that we say we want.
Right. Of getting stuff done.
We are not writing a check that our ass can't cash.
Mine
We're
can
cashing it by setting alarms and setting reminders and having strategies and having systems, right? And again, nothing can erode a marriage faster than a sort of an imbalance of shared responsibilities, because that is the point of marriage, is shared responsibilities, raising children, feeding kids, getting money, having a home, having animals, taking care of it. Shared responsibility is the majority of what you do in a relationship. It's not just googly eyes and love.
You're building a life together.
Yes. And so to get this right is to get most of your marriage right, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And if you have the skills to navigate the complications of getting it right, you will have the skills to navigate almost everything else as well.
So you guys, I hope this has been helpful. It's the 5 do's and don'ts of marriage, of shared responsibility in marriage. And 2 quick things. We do honestly want you to go get the Power Couple Planner. This is a labor of love from Melanie, and it has helped a lot of couples already. It just gets you and your spouse on the same page. It creates date nights. It has starter questions or conversation starters. It has hangout hopes. It has all kinds of stuff. This is like a culmination of all the conversations that you've had of like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if, man, I really wish we could XYZ, or I want to blah, blah, blah. Put it down, you guys, and it'll happen. Like the power of writing a goal, you can, if you think about it in your brain, this is real. This was a study. The percentages are going to be off. If you think about it in your brain, you're like 20% going to do it, right? If you think about it and write it, you're 50% going to do it. If you think about it, write it, share it, then you're like almost 75. But if you think about it, write it, share it, do something else, and visualize yourself, and then schedule it, you will hit that goal. And this is what it's about. So right now, guys, get the Power Couple Planner.
And this lasts for an entire year. This is a planner for an entire year of scheduling your date nights, of working together. And you don't do it like all at once. You do it every single week. So it's not laborious. It's not hard. It's not overwhelming. This is your first steps to creating the life and the marriage that you really, really want.
Exactly. And we've had a ton of questions about, hey, do I have to get 2 of them? One for me, one for my spouse? No, you just got to get one. You got to get one.
One
right?
flesh, one book.
One accord. That's right. And another thing, you guys, we have a couple spots open for high performance marriage coaching. This is for clients not whose house is on fire, really. I mean, maybe it can be, but clients that envision themselves having success and they have the drive and the will and the want to have a good marriage. Those guys work with us.
It's like Stephen and Ignacio. I want to win.
I want to win, right? Do you want to win? Okay, but you're kind of stuck in a couple areas. If you're really devoted to it and you want to dive all in, hit us up and ask about high performance marriage coaching. It changes lives. We've changed so many marriages, so many marriages.
And when you change your marriage, you change the future of your kids' lives. It's amazing. So go to
Amen.
anatomyofus.com to learn about our coaching and schedule a free consult call. It's awesome to talk to you guys. So you can do a free consultation discovery call. Go schedule it on anatomyofus.com. So
That's right.
now, have an amazing day. We love you guys. Go sit down with your partner and talk about all of these things.
All right, guys. Love you.
All right.
Later.
Bye.